Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got online special guest, Sarah Edwards, former jet car driver for the Queen of Diamonds. How you doing, Sarah?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just trying to stay warm here in Illinois.
I hear you. Same here.
Yes. So last year was a pretty wild year for the women in jet cars.
For sure. There was definitely some incidents that aren't very typical in the jet car class, I guess you could say, especially to have three or four women experience them. But, from that you can only grow and make improvements. And unfortunately, um, in Kat Muller's case, there's only stuff that can be learned from that. In my accident, it's a testament that I'm talking to you that all my safety equipment worked.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kat.
Yeah.
You and Tammy Gatlin and Shelly Siegel. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild.
Yes, very wild.
So, how did you get into drag racing in the beginning, Sarah?
So for me, drag racing kind of came by my way by just going to the track with my family and some friends when I was about 12 years old. My parents didn't drag race. I didn't grow up going to the track. It was really more of a specialty event kind of thing that we went to as a family, and it kind of grew on all of us, including, my parents, and we enjoyed it. So every year we went back, and because I took such a liking to it, we started going to national events and just really checking it out and getting a feel for what it is. And the more we went, the more I knew that it was something I wanted to do one day.
Now, I think I read somewhere that you saw the original Queen of Diamonds jet car when you were younger.
I did. So my first trip out to the racetrack, I was about 12 years old. We went to Raceway Park in New Jersey for their annual Night of Thrills event. And lo and behold, there was the Queen of Diamonds. And the Queen of Diamonds had gone about 300 miles an hour. And as everybody knows, with NHRA and drag racing in general, every ticket's a pit pass. So at the end of the night, you got to go up and you got to meet the woman underneath the helmet. And that's really what kind of set it apart for me and showed me that that was something I wanted to do one day.
Now, was the jet car the first vehicle that you ever drag raced in?
No. So before I signed my contract with Hannah Motorsports, I was bracket racing for 4 years. And prior to that, I had gotten my Super Comp license with Frank Hawley's drag racing school in 2010 after I graduated high school. And so I graduated high school in 2010, got my NHRA Super Comp license, and then I went and I bought a dragster that we could race Super Comp or Top Dragster in the Super Pro classes. And we did that. We actually never ran it Super Comp. We only ran it Top Dragster. And for 4 years, we were down at ACO Dragway in southern New Jersey. And that's where I learned all about bracket racing. When we had first started, I didn't know pretty much anything about bracket racing. And just, listening to people throw their times out there and talk about their packages, it was all a foreign language to me. So 4 years down at ACO competing in the Super Pro classes, Top Dragster classes. I got some valuable seat time, learned a lot, and then at the end of 2015, I had gotten the message from Al Hanna of Hannah Motorsports asking if I would be interested in driving his Queen of Diamonds jet car.
Oh, that's awesome. Of course, you were like, yes, yes.
Of course, how could you pass up an opportunity when, you're a 12-year-old little girl and you see the Queen of Diamonds and you aspire to be the Queen of Diamonds and the opportunity comes your way to fulfill that dream? There's the answer is automatically yes, of course. So I signed my contract with them and I drove for Hannah Motorsports from 2016, 17, and 18. And at the end of 2018, I resigned. So moving forward, I am no longer working with that team, and we've kind of closed that chapter in my life of driving the Queen of Diamonds, and we're on to the next.
Now, did that last accident have anything to do with your decision to get out of jet cars?
The accident really did take a toll on myself as a person, as a driver, and as our family. We're a pretty tight-knit family. It's just my mom, my dad, and I, and my boyfriend, Steven, who, every weekend my parents traveled to the track with me, regardless. And Steve came when he was able to. So it's truly a family thing for us, and I always joke that we're a package deal. So the accident took a big toll on us as a family, as a unit, and with that, I ultimately made the decision that it was time for me to kind of step away for now.
Right. So what was the quickest pass you've had when you were in a jet car?
So actually, my fastest pass happened at the Diesel National event at Raceway Park in 2017 before they closed their doors. And I was the last car to go down the track at over 300 miles an hour, and it ultimately ended up being my quickest pass, which was at 301 miles an hour. Nice. So that was a nice little notch to have in my belt, knowing that was the track I grew up going to. That's the track I saw the Queen of Diamonds, fell in love with drag racing, and to be the last car to head down that quarter mile at over 300 miles an hour is pretty special to me.
Yeah, that's great. So, Any idea what you're going to do yet?
So this year we're going to just concentrate on bringing my car, my bracket dragster, back out of hibernation. It was been parked for, for the 3 seasons I drove for Hannah Motorsports. So I'm excited to get back out in our garage, in our trailer, and kind of tinker around and get that up and running. Because driving a car with a motor is very different than driving a car that is a jet engine and is propelled by thrust, pretty much. So I'm excited to get back in and get that sensation, running through my veins again, and then just kind of take it from there.
Right. So now, when you first got into drag racing, was there anybody that was inspiring to you besides the Queen of Diamonds jet dragster out there?
Yeah, so when I first started getting the itch for drag racing, it was actually, I guess, a little bit more difficult back then, even though it doesn't seem so long ago, because there really wasn't social media yet to follow along favorite drivers. So I spent a lot of time on the internet looking up the forces. At the time, actually, Driving Force had just come out on A&E, so that was kind of a perfect time to get hooked on that and ultimately, collect a DVD, and I was able to watch that. And Ashley Force was somebody that I really looked up to at the time. I loved what she was doing and watching her story grow on Driving Force, and it was really the only glimmer of insight you got, because unfortunately drag racing, there isn't a Drag Racing for Dummies book out there, and I was just trying to get my hands on any type of media that I could that told me more about drag racing.
So now with the Mopar dragster and the bracket race deal and all that for the 4 years, were you pretty successful?
At the end of my 4th season, we were just getting the hang of it. My last race of that year of 2015 in late October at ACO, I finally made it to the quarterfinals and the semifinals. I was running 2 different races at the same time, basically, and that was the most success bracket racing had brought me to then. And we literally we went round. We were so excited, and we packed up the trailer. And we're like, man, finally getting the hang of this thing called bracket racing. We're figuring out how to drive it at the end. We're figuring out how to dial it in, tune it, etc. And no sooner did we think we, had it ready to go, I got the phone call to head over to Hannah Motorsports. So we hung everything up in October of 2015, and spring of 2019 is when we are going to start revisiting it.
Yeah, you're probably excited to get back in that dragster.
I am. I'm excited to get back just in a race car. You know, there's something about being in that cockpit that feels like home to me, and it just feels right on so many levels. So whether it's a jet car, whether it's a bracket car, or just, you know, not even, you know, just a street car to have fun on, or if I'd ever got the opportunity to run an alcohol car or a nitro car, I mean, the cockpit is going to be home to me. So I'm just excited to get my helmet back on and shake the cobwebs off and get back out there.
Yeah, you just got that drag racing itch.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
So now, what was it like for you to get behind the wheel for the first time of a jet dragster?
You know, to get behind the wheel of the jet car for the first time, surprisingly wasn't as nerve-wracking as it was for me to get in that Supercom car at Frank Hawley's drag racing school. Up until I got in that seat in 2010 with Frank Hawley, I had never even stepped on the racetrack. I had zero experience. I had one person who we became friends with and a mentor to me that let me sit in his car and start it, but I never actually stood on the starting line. So that by far, by a landslide to date, is still the most nervous I had ever been was at that drag racing school. As far as getting into the jet car, I was really in such great hands that with Al and with Rich training me, that I felt very confident, and we took everything very slow. It was very similar to Frank Hawley's drag racing school, where, you know, you get suited up, you get fitted in the car, and you experience starting the car. And then that's it. You kind of absorb that step. And then you move it on to the next, whether it's a burnout or it's just, you know, dumping some fuel to make some smoke and fire at the starting line. And then that kind of, you turn it off and absorb it, you know, get the feel for it, and then go to the next step. So you're never put into a car and just sent down a quarter mile as fast and as quick as you can go. And I think that's something, there's something to be said for that. You know, you learn each thing along the way, and ultimately, as you're learning, your body is learning just as much as your mind, because your body, these actions are becoming second nature, and that's very important because you're in the cockpit of a car that is going to cover the quarter mile in under 5.5 seconds at over 300 miles an hour. And as everybody knows, things can go wrong in a split second. So it's good to just have that like clear mind and have your body ready for those reflexes and what's going to come your way.
So do you remember how your first pass was with the jet dragster? Like, what was your time?
I don't really. I know my first 300 mile an hour run was at New England Dragway in April, and that was like right around the last, if not the last run of my licensing process in 2016.
So how did it feel to go 300 miles for the first time?
You know, that's everybody's burning question, and I think everybody expects this, like, crazy, you know, energetic response, and my team actually nicknamed me Little Miss Matter of Fact because they didn't get any of that out of me. The first time I went 300 miles an hour, I didn't know it. I knew the run felt fast. I come around the corner, my whole team, the whole crew, they're there waiting for me. They come running up to the car, screaming and yelling, "Oh my God, you just went 300 miles an hour. How did it feel?" And I remember I just looked at them and I said, "Isn't that what you asked me to do?" And that's when I kind of got the nickname Little Miss Matter of Fact, because to me, it was something that was my job. I was supposed to go 300 miles an hour. I don't know why we're celebrating. That's supposed to become normal. So, you know, going 300 miles an hour, for me, everybody has a different perception and take on it. But leaving the starting line and hitting the finish line always felt very sensationless. It was very different than driving my other dragster, you know, where the tires would grip the track. You would feel like your head kind of snap back. In the jet car, it just always kind of felt like you were gliding on glass. It was very smooth I mean, you occasionally had some tracks that were a little bit more difficult to drive than another, or bumpy, or more obstacles. But for me, the part that I enjoyed the most was pulling my chutes at the finish line at that 290, 300-mile-an-hour mark, because when the two chutes deployed, because it's the only way to stop the cars with your parachutes, it just threw you back in your seat. I wear glasses beneath my helmet to see, and there would be times I'd be on the, get the chutes out, get my right hand back on the wheel, and, keep it straight, steer it, and my glasses are like crooked on my face because you have a 4G acceleration, -6 when those chutes come out. And to me, that was my favorite station. Plus, it's always, a good feeling knowing you're slowing down and your chutes came out.
Yeah. So now, what kind of advice could you give to young female drivers of the future that might feel intimidated?
I don't really think there's not too much to be intimidated about. Everybody kind of has a journey and a story and didn't just start, hauling ass from the top and a superstar. So as a young driver, I think that you should always tell people, and I think it goes for driver or just anybody who's truly passionate about something. I'm extremely passionate about what I do in drag racing. I love not only driving the cars, but I love being at the track and interacting with the kids and spending time with them and hearing their stories. So I think no matter what you're passionate about in life, you should always tell people about it. You should always tell your story and find somebody within your field that you're passionate about. And if it's drag racing, find somebody you admire and kind of just watch how they evolve and watch what they bring to the table and say, that's something I want to bring to the table. And then go out and do it. Find a way to do it. We're really fortunate these days with platforms such as social media and Facebook and Instagram and all that, where you can tell your story very easily and you can get other people to listen and very involved. And ask questions. Always, ask for advice and see what people are up to. And you never know. They may have a similar story or they may have a lot of advice. And sometimes the people that you don't think know a clue about what you're so passionate about, still talk to them anyway, because you don't know what their perspective can bring to the table and how it could help you grow as a person or a business person or a driver or whatever it may be.
All right, that's good advice. So now, when you are out on the track, do you have any superstitions or pre-race rituals or anything like that?
No superstitions. I mean, I kind of just, when I was driving the jet car, we as a team had a routine that we followed, and that would be, from suiting up to taking my last walk around the car before I got in with the same direction every time, getting in the car and just kind of being left alone. That was my time to really gather my thoughts and get ready for the job at hand, and go from there.
So how did you use to prepare for a weekend of racing with the jet car?
Well, by going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm still a normal person that holds 2 jobs. I work for a construction company in the office, and I work for an interior designer. I'd gone to school for interior design. So I do that during the week, and then come Friday, my mom, my dad, and I, we hop in the car and we head however many miles we get to a racetrack that we're supposed to be at for that weekend. But even though I have a typical 9-to-5 job per se, I would still come home after work and be really driven, again, by the fans and the kids out there to work hard on my social media, to promote events, interact with people, and just from going to Frank Hawley and getting my license to running my bracket car, eventually getting an advanced PT license, going to the semifinals and the quarterfinals at, the end of 2015 was a huge accomplishment as a family and as a team. getting the opportunity to drive the jet car and travel the country and, set track records at some tracks to have a fastest pass here, a quickest pass there. And then also, meeting people. I enjoy that, and connecting with people is very special to me. And I also was on Drag Illustrated 30 Under 30 list in 2016. So a lot of really cool things have come my way, and I'm just thankful for all of them. Again, not too many kind of resonate higher than another.
All right, now I'm going to ask you a few fun questions here. Now, Besides drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
No, besides drag racing, I'm an extremely boring person. I'm kind of a old soul trapped in a 20-year-old body. I'm not adventurous at all. People think because you go drag racing, you're like this big thrill seeker that wants to jump out of airplanes, and that's like not the case. So I enjoy traveling with my boyfriend to different places and just kind of being low-key home.
All right, so what's your favorite vacation getaway for you and your boyfriend?
We so we're from Connecticut, southern Connecticut, and we go up to Vermont quite often. Neither one of us ski, but we have snowmobiles, and it's just a good getaway. Where we live is super high pace. It's 45 minutes north of New York City. It's a rat race. Nobody's friendly, so it's kind of nice to get out in the woods and in the peace and quiet and around friendly people.
All right, so now in the jet car driving, I know it's an exhibition sport, but it's still, I'm sure you have some competition in there when you're in there. Who is your greatest competitor out there?
So, my biggest competitor out there would probably have been Scotty Heat. I fell short this year at Summit Motorsports Park's 40th night under Kelly Service night under fire, and it was also the inaugural North American Jet Car Championship. And they invited 10 of the fastest cars in the country, 8 qualified, and we made it down to the finals. And Scotty knows how to haul ass. I mean, that guy runs 300, 305 out the back door. He probably would be our biggest competitor at that point in time.
Yeah, I always see Scotty up here at our local track up here in Wisconsin. Great Lakes Dragway, he's always running out 300 plus.
Yeah, him and Denise and Brent, they're really great people. Scotty was the first person I ever ran against, and that was actually at Norwalk, Summit Motorsports Park, and good people. But you kind of find that no matter where you go in drag racing, and everybody out there, no matter if you're 600 miles from home or whatever the case may be, drag races are a unique breed, and they're very friendly and kind, and you can truly build lasting friendships with them.
Yeah, that's what every interview all the interviews that we always talk about. Drag racing is all one great big family, and it just gets bigger and bigger all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I had Josh Graham on last week. He said he's looking forward to going against Scotty.
Yes, I did. I tuned in, and it was exciting to learn about Josh, and exciting opportunity for him to get in the Eastern Raider dragster. I think that's amazing that they're bringing that back, and it's a true honor to Al, who used to obviously drive the Eastern Raider. So I'm excited to see that car hit the track. I'm excited to kind of follow Josh's journey and see where it takes him, because for me, it really took me to incredible places. So I wish the best to him and his family, and hope he gets a lot of 300-mile-an-hour runs in.
Yep. So now, how many awards or plaques and trophy stuff like that have you got throughout your career?
Well, I did sweep up 3 years in a row the Jet Wars at Maryland International Raceway. So I have 3 of those trophies on my shelf that I'm proud of. Those are probably my biggest winning trophies, accomplishments. I've got a bunch of plaques and and stuff from my car when I would take it to car shows and events and such. But my actual winning trophies, the three of them came from Maryland's Jet Wars.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now, if you could do time traveling and go backwards in time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
No, I don't think that. I think everything that I've done is been through a lot of hard work and kind of just flying by the seat of your pants and figuring out social media and marketing and branding yourself and really putting yourself out there. And I would truly say each step of the way I've learned from bracket racing my car and getting involved with schools and speaking at schools and press and then that took me right into Hannah Motorsports and becoming the Queen of Diamonds and being the Queen of Diamonds and being that driver and striving to bring a sponsorship to the table and, you know, to just grow and be a bigger and better person and business person and driver. I wouldn't change anything I've done for the world.
All right, now here's the easy question. Well, maybe not. Some of the people say, "Oh, it's a hard one." But what's Sarah Edwards' favorite food to eat?
My favorite food? Ooh, I'm a picky eater and I'm a plain eater. But I love Sunday pastas at home. I love a good steak and mashed potatoes. And I can pretty much eat breakfast any time of the day.
All right. What's your favorite beverage?
Snapple. Iced tea.
Now, do you have a favorite movie of all time?
No, I'm really not a good movie person. My boyfriend is great at movies, knows all the lines, loves watching them. I always say I don't have the attention span for a movie. I like things that happen in anywhere from 5 to 7.5 seconds. So I don't really have a favorite movie.
How about music? You have a favorite music?
Yeah, I love country music. I love classic rock, old school kind of rock, stuff like that.
Now, when you were younger, as a kid, did you have a favorite cartoon growing up?
Probably like the Hey Arnold, Rugrats era would be my cartoon era. Those were a favorite back then.
How about a TV show? Did you have a favorite TV show when you were younger?
Yeah, I think anything on the Disney Channel pretty much appealed to me. Lizzie McGuire, stuff like that. I did enjoy at least when I was young, Disney Channel had like this thing where they would put out a movie once a month or something like that, and they had a movie called Right on Track, and it was actually a drag racing movie, and it was all about Erica Enders and her start in junior drag racing.
Oh, yeah.
So that and the movie Motocross were my two favorite Disney Channel movies as a kid.
Yeah, I saw the Eric Enders one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Heart Like a Wheel, the Shirley Muldowney story?
I did. My dad had gotten it for me, and I have it on DVD.
Nice. So now, when you're at the track, do you have any certain eating habits when you're at the track on a race day, or do you eat regularly or light?
I eat very light when it's race day. You can usually find me snacking on like Tostitos, pretzels, Chex Mix, anything plain and salty to get me to kind of drink my water and Gatorade through the day to keep me hydrated is pretty much my go-to stuff. Anything plain and salty. And then after the race is done, you could break out, anything. But my mom is really good about, because they travel with me to every race, to kind of try and pack healthy with fruits and vegetables and cheese and crackers, stuff, so that we're not eating track food 24/7. But
Right.
for the most part, I kind of hold off and just eat plain until the day's done.
All right. Now, can you think of a most embarrassing moment you had on the track?
moment. Trying to think.
I mean, this could be with the Jet or the Super Comp dragster, either one.
There was a race in my dragster that I was so excited that I was finally going to be, matched up with this guy, Fred Tonight, who was bracket racing. And he became such a great friend, and we never lined up. He always would offer me, advice and stuff like that. And we were so excited to do it, and I was racing like a year or two in, so it wasn't totally new anymore. And we got to the line, and I don't know what came over me, if I got so excited or what. I remember I think I went through the beam. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what to do. I just waited there. And Fred wouldn't stage his car until I backed up and staged my car because he was such a gentleman, and he was like, I'm not going to let you go out that way. You wanted a race, we're going to race fair and square. And I just remember hearing on the PA that, he was getting yelled at, I was getting yelled at, he wouldn't move, I didn't know if I was allowed to back up. So that was probably my most embarrassing moment, but fortunately when you go bracket racing, there's really nobody in the stands, so it wasn't too bad, but that was it really showed Fred's character and what a great person he is, and it was all good.
All right, now if you weren't a drag racer, what do you think you'd be doing with your life?
Well, I went to school originally for theater design because I thought I wanted to work on Broadway designing sets. And my first year of college, geared towards that, is when I decided I had to finally choose Broadway or drag racing because they're both weekend activities and you can't be in the same place at the same time. So I gave up going to school for theater design. I chose drag racing. But I still went to school and I got my degree in interior design. So if I wasn't drag racing, I'd probably just be a little bit more involved in design. But I'm still really fortunate that I get to work during the week hand in hand with an interior designer that I've been with for the past 6 years. So I think I still get to live the best of both worlds.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So now, how important do you think it is for families to bring kids out in this day and age to watch drag racing?
It's so important. It's so important for families alone to just connect with their kids, to kind of put the iPads down, the phones down, the crazy schedules with, 7 different sports happening, and just really, truly interact with one another. That's such valuable time and lessons learned, and it's truly irreplaceable. So whether you're figuring out something to do with your kids at the drag races, at the drag strip, or just, something else, that time is so important. But our sport needs people to be in the stands. It needs to get people involved and, bring your kids out and let them see what a junior dragster does. I think part of the problem these days is parents don't have the time, unfortunately, to contribute that time and effort to taking their kids racing, and that's something that I wish to kind of change, where, again, you put down the work, the iPads, and the crazy sports, and get out there and really experience something with your kids.
Yeah, they are the future.
They are, and it's stuff that's just so irreplaceable. I'm very fortunate that I kind of stumbled upon drag racing, and together it's taken me and my family to so many places. And, I always say we're a package deal. We go everywhere together, and I also say that it's like a first family fun weekend, but it's not forced at all. We genuinely all enjoy each other's company and spending 10 hours in a car going to a racetrack or hanging at a racetrack over the weekend. When I bracket raced, I was very fortunate with how many people supported me, and, once a month, I'd run out of fingers on my hand to count who came from 3 hours away to hang out in a parking lot, essentially, with me and my family for the weekend to watch me make, 7.5-second passes if I was lucky enough. Like, I've always had a lot of support in my corner, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, being able to experience just life moments and stuff with my closest friends and family, and meeting new friends that become family from the track and stuff. So it's important to get out there with your kids and just kind of connect with them on whatever level or activity it may be.
Yeah, I'm grateful that my dad started taking me to watch drag racing when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I'm 50 now, so 4 or 5, he'd start taking me, he'd grab 1 or 2 friends from the neighborhood, he'd take them with you, and then I got hooked on it, so that's how I got into drag racing. Yes.
Exactly. That's basically what happened. My dad heard a ad on the radio while he was, at work, and said, "Hey, this looks like something that would be fun to take, Sarah to. And how about our neighbors?" Because growing up, I had 4 boys next door that were like my brothers, and 2 of them I was, super, super close with. We were close in age, and he's like, "How about we take them and we all go for the day?" And, that was over a decade ago, and here we are. So it's important to get out there, try new things, experience new things, and just, spend time with your family.
Yeah, now I got the podcast show where I can interview all you drag racers and support you guys, promote you guys and all that good stuff.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So the best way for people to find your schedule would be on the Sarah Edwards Racing page on Facebook?
Yeah, so I'm all over the place. I'm on Facebook at Sarah Edwards Racing. Anything that's coming up, I do add it into my event, so it kind of shows up as a schedule, whether it's an interview or, a meet and greet event, a race, etc. I'm on Instagram at Sarah Edwards Racing. I'm on Twitter at S Edwards Racing. And then finally, I have my website, SarahEdwardsRacing.com, and that's where you can learn more about me. You can learn about Queen Bee Racing, which was what I named my dragster. You can learn about Hannah Motorsports, and you can learn about what I'm doing next. And again, up there is my schedule, and there's interviews and videos and all that good stuff. So definitely check it out. Coming up in about 2 months or so, I would say, I just went out to North Carolina and filmed an episode with David Aiken on his show Toymakers. It's season 3 is coming out at the end of February, and together we put together an episode. And I don't have an official air date yet. That's why I say it's probably about a month and a half, 2 months out. But I'm looking forward to everybody being able to catch up and tune in on that. And once I get that information, I'll definitely pass it along to you, so you can let your people know, and I'll let my people know all over social media. And that's kind of what we got going on.
Very cool. So any final words or anything, thank yous, anything like that you want to do before we close out?
I mean, as always, a huge thank you to my parents. I've talked highly about them. They travel everywhere with me. To my boyfriend, Steven, who supports me. All of our close family and friends who have been there from day one and, have come out to the track and hung out in 100-degree weather on 80-degree asphalt. They're awesome. And everybody's support is truly incredible. And every night I just think how fortunate I am to have my close friends and family, as well as everybody I've met along the way, everybody on Facebook, social media. All those numbers are truly organic, and those are people that believe in me or, following my dream with me and on this journey. And I thank them for being a part of it, because as much as they may find my life exciting to whichever degree, meeting them and getting to connect with them is something that always comes home with me and is very special to me. And being able to drive the jet car at different tracks, but kind of the same thing, like having a schedule where you're at a certain track every year at the same kind of date, you kind of become very familiar with your fans, and you get to know them. And you may say, hey, I'm heading to Keystone. I can't wait to see my junior drag racing girls. Or I'm headed out to Norwalk, Ohio. I can't wait to see, so-and-so. So those connections are really special for having that impact on me because, again, it's something that I'll forever have.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do an interview tonight.
Yes, thank you. This is awesome.
And I wish you the best of luck with the Super Comp Dragster.
Thank you. Yes, I will keep everybody in the loop.
We'll do another interview in the future, and we'll see how you're doing with the Super Comp racing.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Okay, you have a great night, Sarah.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.